It is now time to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Broadcast journalist Funke Treasure and public affairs analyst Olade Ndiario are here with me to look at the papers this morning. Good morning, lady and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Are you not? You don't want to respond?
Part 2 continues now.
No, calm down, calm down.
You have to greet me first.
Okay, it's okay. Ladies first, though. Anyway, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the national economy. Nigeria's import bill surges to 12-year high of 6.85 trillion naira. Nigeria's import bill surges to 12-year high of 6.85 trillion naira. To the business day now, energy transition reality rouses federal government from inertia on sector reforms to pass PIB in June after 20-year delay. To the blueprint now, IPOB ESN insurgency looming civil war must be averted at all costs. NEF tells federal government. Right. Let's move now to the front page of the Nation newspaper. Federal government declares a tax on public assets terror act. A removal of rail tracks may attract death sentence. Details of that story on the front page of the Nation newspaper. To the leadership newspaper now, IGP blames rivalry among security agencies for worsening insecurity. Inspector General of Police blames rivalry among security agencies for worsening insecurity. You find details of the story on the pages of the leadership newspaper. To the Daily Trust now, cessation agitations, Northern Elders flee Igbo leaders' lack of consensus. Northern Elders flee Igbo leaders' lack of consensus. You find details of the story on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. To the Daily Times now, some privileged elites planning to dismantle Nigeria, says Sultan. Some privileged elites planning to dismantle Nigeria, says Sultan. Details on the pages of the Daily Times. To the first newspaper now, Kumuyi Adeboye defy federal government's Twitter ban, tweet reactions. Branches can tweet from anywhere in the world, Deeper Life founder. Tweets in accordance with UN declaration, says redeemed GO. That's the general overseer speaking there. All right, we move now to the Vanguard newspaper. Twitter, free expression vital. US, UK, EU tell federal government. We remain firm in our position. US, EU, UK, Canada, Norway, Ireland insist. Federal government gives condition to leave ban on Twitter. Adeboye defies Twitter ban, says tweeting is within UN Charter on Human Rights. Deeper Life tweets from across the world. Kumuyi, well, federal government could have handled it a lot better, says Sanwo-Olu. To the Nigerian Tribune, Twitter ban, Nigerians must have free access to self-expression. US Envoy, excuse me, suspension in national interest, federal government tells US, UK, Canada. Uproar as NBC directs broadcast stations to uninstall Twitter handles. Tweeting guaranteed under UN Charter on Human Rights. Adeboye. Tweets target 5 continents, over 100 nations. Deeper Life speaking there. To the Daily Sun newspaper, Akeredolu, Adeboye, Kumuyi, El-Rufai, Fayose, shun Twitter ban. Tweeting within UN Charter on Human Rights, Adeboye is still saying, why I won't obey government order, Kumuyi. US, EU, UK envoys mounting criticism of move as government gives condition for lifting ban. Well, to the Nigerian News Direct now, Adeboye, Kumuyi, others defy federal government on Twitter ban. Twitter suspends Facebook's owner account for attacking Buhari. NBC directs all TV radio stations to deactivate Twitter handle. Ban violators will know their offense in court. And finally, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, police confused on a mass trial order. Adeboye, Kumuyi defy Twitter ban. How do police arrest prominent Nigerians because they are using Twitter? Force, that's the police force, is asking. Order wrong. UK, US, Canada insists. Federal government begs global powers, alleges destabilization plot. My tweets targeted at global audience in over 100 nations, declares Deeper Life founder. Well, this story is still generating reactions, that the Twitter ban. And that's what we'll be looking at this morning. We would recall that the federal government had a meeting with the international body yesterday, talking about the EU, the UK, Canada, and some persons telling them about why they had to take that move, threatening of the nation's existence. And the UK, the national international body rather, is saying that under the UN Charter, Nigerians have the right to freedom of expression. But then the government is saying that for there to be a restoration of the use of the Twitter operations, Nigerians have to be responsible in their communication. There has to be that assurance that Nigerians will be able to use that platform responsibly. And I wonder what your reaction is to this, Funke.
Well, the operative word there is responsible. Now, this is a medium that was used to enthrone this government.
Right.
If you recall, during the elections, there was massive mobilization on Twitter by the youths. And that tells you that the youths, if they believe in a cause, they will invest themselves in it. And so it's interesting to see how the marriage between the Nigerian youth and the present administration has turned out at the end of the day, and why there was no platform for these two sides to come together to dialogue before the ban, knowing that really, if we cast our minds back to 2015, it was a massive, almost triumphant support for this present government that brought the present government into power. So it's disheartening to see what has happened. I know a lot of our youth feel ashamed. They feel ridiculed. And if you look at the rate of unemployment, the statistics saying that Nigeria is the new poverty capital of the world, and the fact that there is gross, if there's such a word to qualify the rate of unemployment that we have now, you see that it wasn't really properly thought out. That there's nothing dialogue cannot do. And again, you look at responsible use of Twitter and you begin to wonder, okay, who did what that warranted the ban? It wasn't that the youths did anything. It was a personal thing between the person of the president and Twitter. He tweeted. It wasn't because a youth or a Nigerian youth tweeted. So how come responsibility is being turned on the Nigerian youth? I'm not understanding, as you say.
That's why I'm asking. who defines responsible use of the platform now? Because that's where the question, maybe he has an answer to that.
I have a different position.
Right.
That is the fact that the ban was wrongly headed in the sense that every popular platform, either offline or online, they have their terms and conditions.
Absolutely.
Now, if I decide to punish you for running foul of my guideline, the best you can do is to reach out to me or probably rewrite or retweet your intention to reflect what you meant instead of using the hammer. Now, it's like when you hold the hammer, every problem looks like a nail that must be smashed. Federal government was wrong. Now, when you said the president, it wasn't the president, it was the presidency. Okay. We must always separate the two. And we've always said this thing. It will continue to happen because we do now know who is at the helm of affairs. Yesterday, the IG woke up suddenly and he said, no more vehicles with tinted glass. The question is... Because insecurity is... Yeah, but the question is this. More than half of the vehicles on our roads carry tinted glasses, fitted straight from the factory. Not that we went to one corner to get them tinted. Now, what happens? This morning, I was like, should I or should I not? Because I wasn't going to hit the road with the Okada. And I said, well, let me hit the road. If they arrest me, I'll leave the car and go home. Because my car is fully tinted.
Right.
So when you look at all of these things, again, who makes the law? When they say they are going to be prosecuting people for using Twitter, as the National Assembly promulgated the law, established a law, giving vent and power to that, I don't understand, because the critical issues of governance have been left unattended to. We're now chasing the shadow.
We were trying to build up to all of that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Let not go, that's why I'm saying that the decision wasn't right. It was wrong-headed.
Okay, it was wrong-headed, yeah.
Because see, I read the tweet, and I was like, the mention of the two words, civil war, was in bad taste. We are struggling to put that era behind us and get all of us united. Why that reference? Because it's as good as bringing back the soul and the pain of that era back to life, which we don't need now. We need everybody's cooperation to solve our problems and move us forward. Yesterday, I asked somebody, and I said, I mentioned 10 ministers. The person could not. Why? The few who are active are less than 5. We have abandoned governance for, you see, Twitter is not our problem. Right. If they had been found wanting before now, then they should have been dealt with squarely.
Who now?
I mean, if government had found Twitter wanting, it should have dealt with them.
Well, that's why, perhaps this is why some persons have said it is a build-up, like those.
Yeah, like she said, it's not the Nigerian.
It wasn't the Nigerian youth
that misbehaved or that used platform.
That's where I am headed, because, like our previous guest said, it's that it was a build-up of events, talking about the NSAS issue and every other thing, how they felt perhaps Twitter was supporting the NSAS protest, and also now, and that is why they decided to use the hammer to slam. So perhaps this is why they are saying a responsible use of the platform by the youth, perhaps.
It has to be perhaps, because really in this matter, it wasn't the youth that had an issue with Twitter. It was, well, has he said, the presidency and Twitter. How come is the youth, Nigerian youth, take and the rest of Nigerians taking responsibility for the fraction, the infraction between both parties? It's not fair. But then again, I see it as diversionary. We have more pressing state issues to deal with. We have okay, look at now. We've all been fixated on this Twitter ban. What about Igongo during the weekend? What about Benue? We haven't heard from the presidency, neither have we heard from the president. So everyone is talking about this Twitter ban, Twitter ban, Twitter ban. It's just, it's becoming irritating to me, really, because, as it were, people have found their ways. We've seen big churches with big followership, huge followership, saying, look, we're invoking international laws, and we have branches across the world. So this cannot hold, water here. It can't stop us. We're seeing bigger, well, in Nigerian parlance, big men still tweeting. We're seeing governors still tweeting. So, and then we see a Minister of Justice saying, arrest everybody.
There is no law backing the order.
There is no law. Now, the phone is a private property.
Right.
Are you going to stop me on the way and ask me to bring out my phone? How ridiculous will that be? And then tell me to scroll my phone. You want to see whether I have a Twitter app or not. It's ridiculous. When we have bandits running wild all over the place, they let it go and went to Emeko. We haven't heard a statement yet. But what the security apparatus will be doing is looking for tinted cars and looking for Twitter apps on phones. I know that the tinted glasses, is also a security, measure, right? But you see, the suddenness of these declarations is laughable. So you just suddenly say, start arresting people with tinted glasses. Okay, I have one and I have permit for it. What do I do? Tear the permit and do what to my car? You have to give time for things to settle in, for things to, processes, to fall in place, and then you begin to enforce, not with immediate alacrity. We're not in the military era. Exactly. You can't be doing everything with immediately. This one, immediately. Hello?
but if you look at...
Before you ask me a question, what happened to the children taken from the Islamiyat in Nigeria?
One has died.
One of them,
two mothers have died.
These are issues that I think
to
concern the
should
government.
be on the front burner.
These are, I mean, that is somebody's daughter sent to go and learn, and then they will now have to contend with the loss of the child. And the rest are still there. The kidnappers are threatening fire and brimstone. Must we wait till they start wasting them? Or are we going to say that, they're just blowing hot air? Haven't we witnessed where a kidnapped gang said they will kill, and they actually killed? I mean, we should, one is beginning to wonder if we will want to vote again. Because all the promises made that
elections are part of a democracy, it should.
Yeah, but the question is this: when you come to us and you say, "I will do A, B, C, D, E, F for you," now 6 years after, where are we? When you benchmark against what we are witnessing, the matrix is not looking good. These are issues that should concern the government. He said that I'm not, they're even lucky. They have no active opposition the way they were against PDP.
But the government is saying that whatever decision is taking is in the interest of the government, because the existence of the country is being threatened. What is governance actually?
Not the interest of the government, please. In the interest of the people. We are the country, not the government. Those who are empowered,
is in the interest of the people, so that the country will be together. That's what the government is saying. I'm only telling you.
Those who are empowered today are exercising power on our behalf. We gave it to them. To that extent, it shouldn't be about government. And I've said it before, when all you do is to spend money to protect governors, they drive in 14 vehicle convoys and all of that, it is wrong. Because those who make them who they are led at the mercy of kidnappers, bandits, and all criminals. We miss it. Security should not be about the government, about the people, about the country. We should come first. If there's a king, that's a kingdom. There's not a king.
And that is what we're saying.
And again, at the roots of the disaffection we see in the country now is the selective responses to issues. Our government, our leaders would have to prove to the people that they're not biased, that they're actually objective. But what we've seen so far is subjective decisions.
This is not proof enough if you say that the nation's existence is being threatened by a platform, and you decide to let it off, because the primary purpose of governance is to ensure the security of life
of the
and
social media platform. Twitter is not the most popular.
Exactly. Is it? Even if it is, would you want to destroy what is popular to gain what? Because this is no longer popularity, this is ridiculous. This is ridicule across the world. Everyone's watching and wondering, what's the problem?
International community.
The international community is worried for us. Look at how many people who've lost the means of livelihood since Friday. A lot of our youth don't own shops.
Yes.
They use
platforms.
Let's look at the economic impact of it. A lot of our youth can't afford shops. If they can't afford shops, they can't afford to pay the electricity bills. If they can do that, there's the issue of security. So the safest place to be, the sanest place to be is online, whether you're on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook, because then you get to sell your goods. You do deliveries, and then you make money, you survive. And then all of this is being pulled away. Every day there is some sort of policy or decision by leaders to diminish the dignity of the Nigerian citizen. It is not right. It is not right. And our leaders will have to watch it. I am perpetually talking
do you
about
think that
representatives.
They are concerned about our image with internationally with the decisions the decisions they are taking? Because you are talking about
ties.
They're watching.
We have diplomatic ties. It's an international community. We do not exist in isolation. We ask people to come and invest in Nigeria. We go to invest elsewhere. And then we're perpetually borrower nation. We're always borrowing anyway. So we need those people. You can't be borrowing my money and then you tell me I can't speak to your citizens. We're perpetually borrowing.
Right. So if the government was to handle this in a different way, what should that have been?
God bless you. I would have expected they reach out to the authorities at Twitter, formally lodge specific complaints, and expect explanations. That without any noise, without us, the citizens now or the world knowing, it will have been resolved. I don't think those who own Twitter will want to go to war with Nigerian government. No, it's not in their interest. But like I told you, when you hold a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. All you want to do is to knock it all the way down. Because see, people are jobless, and those platforms, Facebook, all of them, they gave them opportunities to run. There is a friend of mine that's a shopping complex. Year in, year out, tenants will pay for shops. When their rent runs down, they won't be able to pay. They either fight and pack their things and go away, and that cycle continues. But today, what do you see? You don't have to own any shop. Get the goods to sell, put it on those platforms, people will contact you, business is booming. You can see now that we have a lot of logistics companies around, especially in Lagos. People delivering things and business is moving, and a lot of us now, we are taking off the road, making way for good traffic flow. These are things that we're thinking about. Now, yesterday again, at another platform, I was wondering that we have so many children being brought to life at IDP camps. Why is nobody thinking about their future? There's a message, there's something, circular going on now that there's going to be protest on June 12th. What is government doing to address all of that? These are issues we will be looking at. And like I told you, if I have to tell me now, 10 ministers who are actively working with government.
She have final word, right? Because you need to wrap up.
I just want to say that being confrontational, rather the confrontational stance of the government on almost all issues is not doing anyone any good.
Right.
This is a democracy. We the people demand for dialogue. You're asking for dialogue. We're also asking for dialogue.
Absolutely.
It's about time we fixed our leaking roof in this country.
Funke Treasure Olade Ndiario, thank you for your time on the newspaper review.